Welcome to Better Techie. Now today we'll discuss some things about @required annotation in Spring, okay, and whether the BeanFactory will support annotations or not. There is some assumption, so that also we will get to know. Meanwhile, yes, we can. The support is there through Bean post processor. How and all we'll see in the coming videos, okay. Then before navigating to this is the official definition. Marks a method, typically a Java Bean setter method, as being required. That is, the setter method must be configured to be dependency injected with a value. Means if we make the setter injection as mandatory, then we will go for the @required annotation. That is the meaning. Now with this information, as we discussed in the previous section, the retention policies, right? All the Spring annotations support at runtime. We'll see that information by navigating to the annotations as well. Okay, let me navigate to the STS IDE. See here I created one of the project. My requirement is I want to make the laptop ready. For my laptop ready, I'm having different kind of attributes. Let's take processor and a manufacturer and which generation the processor belongs. Okay, these are the few attributes, and I created one laptop simple Java class, and this is test class I created. We will go through it, and this is the Spring configuration file. Okay, and I provided this as a Maven project, so I added the respective dependencies here as well, and I provided the Spring dependency I am using 4.3.30. With this information, let's proceed inside the code. I made the code ready just to save our time, so I will go through all this code once again. Okay, and as I updated earlier, the @required annotation, right? If you see here, it is showing the retention policy they provided as a runtime. So if you are not aware about the retention, please go through our previous video. We are having different levels, different policies, retention policies. We are having source, class and runtime. Almost all Spring annotations are at the runtime. So that whatever beans I provided at the uh, Spring, those are treated as a normal POSO classes, because these annotations will be applied at a runtime. It won't applicable for compile and source level. So we will get the future of POJOs. Now fine, let's this is the laptop. These are the few attributes, and I made these attributes as setters. So as if it is setters, then these are not mandatory, these are optional, the injections will be. And generally I am going with the IOC Spring Bean configuration file. This is the configuration file. I made the laptop as a bean here, and I am injecting only one property. Remaining other things just I commented. We will go through one by one later part. Okay. Now this is my bean definitions, and let me navigate to the tester. See, initially we will go with the application context, like a standard application @required. Then we will debug inside whether the annotation support is there for the BeanFactory or not. Okay, you just for time being ignore these commented lines, and simply I created, and I think I showed the dependencies as well. These are the Spring I am using. Fine, I'll close this and I'll maximize it. I just created the application context is equal to new XML new class path XML application context, and I provided the context file path. And on this, now I got the application context. When I am asking the application context dot get bean, when I am asking the laptop object, it will return the laptop object, then it will print. So in the laptop object, just we created one constructor and some setters and two string also we overridden. So this is my simple test class. Okay, now let me run this test class. What will happens, we'll see. Yeah, if you see, initially the object is created through the constructor, and the laptop, whatever the values it is available, that values are injected. In this case, the manufacturer is there, right? The manufacturer I provided as Intel, so it is injected the Intel. Now my requirement is I want to make other attributes as well mandatory things. How can we made? By enabling the @required annotation. So when we make this annotation as at the setter level, anyway we provided the manufacturer, right? We will go for the processor. Without processor my laptop won't work, right? Here it is not required because we already provided the value in the configuration file. Let me remove here. Anyway, that is commented previously as well. Now I made this processor as mandatory. Then we'll run this program. Whether the processor is injected into my laptop or not, we'll see. Now processor is not injected because we provided the required annotation at the setter level, but as we are aware, application context is eager loading, so at the time of beans provided to the user, it will do all the dependency injection and all, but we need to intimate the IOC container. Hey IOC container, here we are enabling the annotations. Please go through the annotations. Means once my object is created by using the constructor, then if any annotations are enabled, then apply that annotations as well. So to make that the container aware, we need to enable context colon application hyphen context tag. This where can we get? Means if we are not getting, means go to namespaces, and here if you see the context, right, we need to check this context, then the context will be enabled. Now let me run my test class here. Now I enabled the annotations. See, I am getting error because we made the processor is mandatory, property processor is required for being laptop. So we mustn't provide that particular processor information in the context, in the configuration file. So for that I am enabling just this processor because it's a mandatory I made through the required annotation. Now let me run this test class once again. Yes, if you see now the processor i5 and the manufacturer will be Intel. The generation nothing is there, so its default value is 0. Now 5. This is how @required is working. Means by making setter injection as mandatory. Now if we need the this one, the generation as well mandatory, then we'll apply that as well. Means without all these attributes my laptops won't work out, right? So now let me run the test class. Now we will get the exception again. Generation required is mandatory. So go here and do the property tag. If you click, then it will give, then if you type the 2-3 characters and control spacebar, we will get the respective attribute, and we need to provide the value as well. This is the value. Generation will be 8th generation. Now when I run the test class, now the things will be working fine. Now my laptop is ready with all the attributes. I can work happily. Fine. This is about the @required. Now we'll go to our question whether BeanFactory will support annotations or not. Yes, the support is there. Whenever we given @required annotation, backend for all these annotations there are bean processors available. Suppose in case of required, right, required annotation bean post processor is present. So after creating the beans, then we need to intimate the container, respective container. If it is BeanFactory, then we need to update the BeanFactory. This bean post processor you need to perform so that my required annotation will be invoked, and this is at the method level. Okay, this annotation like how means, let me navigate to the test class. I won't go with the application context. Okay, for time being, let it be commented, and we'll see how we can enable. Normally I created the BeanFactory object. BeanFactory is equal to new XML BeanFactory, new class path resource. Here I provided my beans configuration file. Now once my BeanFactory is ready, we need to create the respective bean post processor, Spring specific bean post processor. We need to declare that bean inside our configuration. Like how, let me comment this as well. I no need to update the container, so let it be commented. Then we will see how it is working. Now what I am doing, I am enabling the required annotation bean post processor. As we are aware, bean post processor is interface having multiple implementations for bean post processor. One of the implementation is a required annotation bean post processor. Similarly, if we use @autovire, right, then respective bean post processor will be available. We need to just declare this bean inside our application configuration file, and at the test class, once my BeanFactory is ready, then we need to enable, or we need to get the respective required annotation bean post processor. That object we need to get, and this object we need to add to the my container, BeanFactory container. Yes. Now my BeanFactory, by using configurable listable BeanFactory of BeanFactory, I am just adding the bean post processor of required bean annotation. Hope this content is clear. Just I'll remove it. Yeah. Now here what I created the BeanFactory, and for this BeanFactory I added the respective post processor. Now I am intimating to the IOC container. Once object is ready, then do this add bean post processor. As we are aware bean post how the bean post processors are working, just to go through the previous session, we are having methods like bean post processor before initialization. Where is this bean post processor? We are having default method, right? Post process before initialization and post process after initialization. When we comes to the bean lifecycle methods, right, we are having init and destroy. Once the object is created by using constructor, then it will perform the, if we declare any bean post processor, then post process before initialization will be called, then the init lifecycle method will be called, after that post process after initialization will be called. This is the flow of execution. Okay, then whatever the annotation we are intimated, right, that annotations we provided here. Now let me run this example once again. We'll see whether the annotations are injected or not. Yes, unsolved compilation problem test 47. Okay, there is no laptop, right? So now we will ask the BeanFactory, give me the laptop which is required for us after performing all these post processor, means the annotations will be enabled. Now let me run this one. Yes, if you see, now the things are clear. Even with BeanFactory as well, the annotation support is there. Normally, even in case of application context as well, annotations are behind the post processors only. But why we will go to application context means, instead of we manually getting the post processor and adding the bean post processor, we are just using the application context. So it is eagerly initialized at the time of creating object itself. It will go and check the respective post processors and it will inject the things. Suppose here they require, right? Let me go to here and I will make one of the property as I won't provide. Then we'll see whether we will get the issue or not. Nice Java application. See, now we are getting property. Generation is required for bean post processor laptop. Generation is mandatory. Hope this is clear. So we made the setter injection. If you observe here I am not using anywhere the context annotation config, and even my test class also I am not using the application context for the IOC container creation. Okay, I am going with the BeanFactory as well. This is simple example. Let me provide the, let me enable the property so that our laptop will be ready with all the respective attributes. Processor I got, manufacturer I got, and the generation, 8th generation. Okay, thank you. I am stopping this. Yeah, I need to add one more thing. See, this is BeanFactory. Similarly, even we can create the BeanFactory by different ways as well. By different ways, like how means, we can go by going with the default listable BeanFactory object we are creating, and we are reading the bean. This is another way of doing, another means different way of creation, that's it. Okay, here I am created the bean definition reader. Once my bean definition reader is ready, then I need to load this reader with my configuration information. Here I need to provide the proper path of my application, means required hyphen context.xml file. Here, yes. Let me clear these things. Yeah, now my reader is ready by loading the XML configurations which is available in this file. Now we need to get the bean post processor like how the previous, right? From the default listable bean factory, we need to get that one, and we need to add this bean factory to the default listable bean. Hope the things are clear. Now even by this way, by this fashion also, we will get the respective dependencies and all. Let me add the default listable bean factory. Let me run this one. Yes, now things are working fine. Yeah, that's it about the example. These are the some high level code. This is just toString and this is my configuration file. Hope the things are clear and we are aware even annotations are working. Yes, I gone through few of the people mindset, means by googling just simply. See, application context support almost all types of bean scope. That is fine. I want to show, yeah. Bean factory versus application context, right? Many people having in the assumption that application bean factory there is no support for the annotation. Application context, yes, they mentioned, but no. Even bean factory also will support the annotation support by looking at this example. Not only this, I saw some more articles as well. They mentioned Spring Bean Factory may not support, yeah, Bean Factory does not support annotation based configuration, whereas application context. Now with this example, we are aware even Bean Factory also will support the annotations. Thank you. I'm closing this one. If you need to add any information, please add at the description part. Thank you. I'm stopping it.